This content is based on facts for educational purposes. We do not intend to defame any company. Logos are omitted for copyright.
Let's talk about that device that's probably in your hand, or at least within arm's reach right now, because it has senses you might not even know about, and it's using them to understand you. You've definitely seen this before, right? That little green dot that pops up in the corner of your screen. You kind of know what it's for, but what it really represents? Well, that's a doorway to a much, much bigger story about what our phones are actually becoming. You see, our phones aren't just phones anymore, not by a long shot. They've evolved into these all-seeing, all-hearing extensions of, well, of us. Think about it. We usually see our phones as just a tool, you know? Something for making calls, sending texts, scrolling through apps. But what if we completely reframe that? What if we started thinking of them as sensory organs, as things that are constantly seeing, hearing, and even trying to understand the world? And you, right in the middle of it. So let's go back to that green dot. Officially, yeah, it's a privacy indicator. It shows up in your status bar anytime an app is using your camera or your microphone. And if you tap on it, it'll tell you exactly which app is watching or listening right now, or was just doing it seconds ago. It's really the most obvious clue we have that our phone is always ready to perceive what's going on around it. But here's the twist. This incredible new sensory power, it isn't just about creepy privacy stuff. It also holds this amazing promise. It has the potential to turn your phone into a personal doctor that fits right in your pocket. Okay, so let's just ask a wild question here. What if your phone's camera, yeah, the same one you take selfies with, what if it could spot the earliest, most subtle signs of a serious neurological disease? And this isn't some sci-fi fantasy. It's actually based on a real medical science called pupillometry. It's just a fancy word for measuring the size of your pupil and how it reacts to things, like a flash of light. For doctors, these tiny little changes can be a massive clue, a biomarker for your overall neurological health. And check this out. This is how incredibly good the technology has already gotten. Studies are showing that a totally standard smartphone camera can track your pupil size almost as accurately as one of those super expensive specialized medical devices. I mean, we are talking about an error margin of less than 1/3 of a millimeter. That is ridiculously precise, and it's well within the range that doctors consider clinically acceptable. So what does this mean? It means we could be looking at a future of at-home diagnostics for a whole host of conditions. Things like sports concussions, Parkinson's disease, even schizophrenia, or just measuring your mental fatigue. It's the chance for early detection right from your own couch. Now, to really get why this is such a game changer, we have to go a layer deeper, not into the phone's computer code, but into our own, the code that's running inside our brains. You see, deep down, our brains are running on a really simple but incredibly powerful operating system. They are hardwired to make us repeat any behavior that triggers the release of 4 specific chemicals, the so-called happy chemicals. And these 4 chemicals, they pretty much drive everything we do. You've got dopamine, that's the yes, I found it feeling of reward. Serotonin, that's the feeling of pride, of being respected by others. Oxytocin, that gives us that warm feeling of safety and bonding. And then endorphin, which is basically the body's own painkiller, creating a kind of euphoria. And this all creates a super simple but powerful habit loop. Step 1, you do something that your brain thinks meets a survival need. And that could be anything from eating food to getting a notification on your phone. Step 2, your brain gives you a little hit of a happy chemical as a reward. Step 3, that reward builds a little pathway in your brain. And step 4, now you're motivated to do that same thing all over again. So that's how we form habits. Simple enough, right? But it begs a really important question. In this new world of all-seeing devices, who else is keeping track of our rewards? Because all this new capability, it comes with a price tag. And that price is being known, maybe more deeply and intimately than ever before in human history. The very same sensors that could one day diagnose a disease also make up a powerful biometric toolkit. We're talking facial recognition, voice analysis, emotion detection, and the app even tracking the dilation of your pupils. All of it can be captured, and all of it can be analyzed. You know, this is all happening so fast that the regulators are just trying to play catch up. The Federal Trade Commission is already putting out official warnings telling businesses, hey, you better not lie about how you're collecting or using this kind of sensitive biometric data. And protecting this data, it's incredibly complicated. I mean, look at this. Even that simple green dot we talked about relies on this complex digital fortress built right into your phone's chip, a secure world that's walled off from the normal world of apps. It's a really complex system, and you can bet security researchers are always looking for cracks in the walls. So what's the response? Well, we're starting to see brand new laws pop up, like the Biometric Information Privacy Act in Illinois. These laws are specifically written to give us, the consumers, actual legal rights over our own unique biological data. And they're setting the stage for some huge legal fights ahead. And this brings us right to the heart of it all, the fundamental conflict we're all living through right now. And ultimately, it's our choice to make. This technology is a classic double-edged sword. On one side, you have this incredible promise, a diagnostic tool in every pocket that could save lives and push medicine forward. But on the other side, you have the peril, a monitoring tool that's everywhere, one that could be used to analyze and maybe even manipulate our deepest behaviors. At the end of the day, the technology itself, it isn't good or evil. It just is. What it becomes, its real impact on the world, that is going to depend entirely on the rules we decide to build around it and the choices that we all make. So that leaves us with one last pretty big question to think about. When your phone knows you better than you know yourself, who is actually in control?